Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Houston Sports Talk back into the video day, and today the Houston Astros beat the Washington Nationals 3-0 in spring training, hand the Nationals their first loss of spring training as they go to 3-1. The Astros win their third straight game in spring training, going 3-2 now, and in back-to-back days, the Houston Astros have got revenge on the two teams that handed them their first 2 L's on Saturday. Outside of Saturday, the Astros have been perfect this spring training. Obviously, they had a split squad doubleheader on Saturday and lost both games 6-2 and 6-3, the Nationals and the Mets. Sure, they did beat the Cardinals and they beat the Cardinals on Sunday. The game against the Marlins on Monday got postponed or canceled. And then the last couple of days, we've seen the Astros beat the Nationals and the Mets, the two teams that beat them on Saturday. So sweet revenge against these two teams. It doesn't really matter. It's spring training, but I think it's funny and it's fun to joke about, if you ask me. But great win for the Astros to get this 3-0 dub. Eight hits for the Nationals, 5 for the Astros. So the Astros weren't very active with hitting in this game. Let's be honest, the hitting wasn't very good today. The reason why the Astros won this game was because of amazing Yainer Diaz 2-run bomb and some really good pitching by the Astros today that gave up 8 hits. The hits were a little bit high, but no runs. So some really good pitching, and Yainer Diaz being able to send one deep and Framber Valdez giving you 2 good innings are really the reason why the Astros won this spring game, not because of their offense. 8 hits for the Nationals, 5 hits for the Astros, like I mentioned. Win goes to Framber Valdez. He's 1-0 in spring now. Great to see Framber again. Well, you know what? I hate to say see because we're not actually seeing him. This wasn't on TV. This is actually the Astros' first. This is actually the first spring training game the Astros have played where it's not on TV, because they played Saturday against these Nationals. It was on TV. And yes, I know they also played on Saturday against the Mets, and that wasn't on TV. They played 2 games on Saturday. One was on TV, one wasn't. But were you really going to count that game? There was a bunch of prospects who, like the best player the Astros had in that game, or yes, sure, there was like Bryce Matthews in that game. There was some solid prospects, but like the most veteran player that was playing in that game for the Astros, we're going to talk about veterans, the most, vet type player that was playing in that game was Ben Gamel. There was barely anybody, that was playing that game that I think, you'd be looking at, okay, this guy's going to be on the major league roster this year, potentially. I think the only guy that really played in that game was Ben Gamel. And so then Sunday, that game was on TV against the Cardinals. The Astros got the win, and we got to watch that one on Space City Home Network. Monday's game was supposed to be, the game against the Marlins on Monday was supposed to be the first game we did not see on TV, but that got canceled, so that never happened. Yesterday's win over the Mets, Christian Walker and Isaac Paredes, Astros debuts, were on TV, and the Astros get the win. So, yeah, today was the first day where it's not on television. Yes, you can listen to these games on the radio, and that's great, but it's not the same. It's not the same as watching these games at all. It's not close. And the thing I hate the most is tomorrow Jose Altuve is making his debut of spring. So we'll hear we'll see later highlights when the game's over. If you want to see it, you're going to see it after it happens, or So if you're going to see it, you're going to see it after it happens, and if you want to have some you want to know what's going on live, the only way to do that is by listening to it on the radio. But Jose Altuve, not only is he going to be making his spring debut tomorrow, but also his first game ever in left field. That is a game that you'd love to see on television to watch with the Astros. I think that's something that we'd all love to see, but unfortunately it won't be on there. But yeah, so I am excited that Altuve will be playing tomorrow, though. And I do plan to listen to it on the radio. Loss goes to DJ Hertz. He's 0-1 in spring now. Pitched 2 innings, he had 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 strikeout, 2 walks. Save goes to Wyman. He's first save of the spring, which is probably his first game pitch. I'm not sure, but I would say it's probably his first game pitch of spring, most likely. He pitched 2 innings, he had 3 hits, 5 strikeouts in his 2 innings. So 6 outs, 5 of those were strikeouts. Wyman looked pretty good. And then Scoring summary, like I mentioned, Yainer Diaz had a 2-run first inning shot, homer to left in the first. Pareja scored. It's 2-0. And then in the ninth inning, the Astros added one more run to make it a 3-0 shutout when Jarowski singled to center and Gomez scored. And it's 3-0. Let's go over the Astros lineup today. Kennedy Corona was at leadoff in center field. He was 0 for 3 with a strikeout, a fly out, and a ground out. Luis Castro replaced him. He went 0 for 1 with a ground out. Cooper Hummel was at 2 today and was 1 for 3 with a double to left in the fifth. That's interesting. And he was replaced by Okia, who was 0 for 1 in his one at bat. Isaac Pareja got 2 at bats today, a walk in the first inning. It seems like this year he's going to get a lot of walks for this Astros team. That's something I wish the Astros did more, was get more walks last season. Sure, they had a solid amount of walks, but I think that's something I really wish they did more this season. And I think that's something that Isak and Christian Walker are going to add to this Astros team this year. And we've seen it a little bit early on in spring. He had a walk yesterday. Isak had a walk yesterday. He had a walk today. Christian Walker had a walk yesterday. So not only we all talk about how they're going to bring so much power and some big home runs to this team this year, which I agree with. But I think they're gonna give the Astros some much needed walks this season as well, which I am excited for. Get to Yainer Diaz now, because after Isak's walk, which he was DHing today, by the way, and got to play second base yesterday. So I got to play third base yesterday. Just let him get a couple at bats and keep him off the field. That idea I like. But Yainer Diaz was back at catcher yesterday. Yes, he did play yesterday. Had a little bit of an off day, but he was at DH, so you can put him back out there at catcher day. I think this early on in spring, you don't want to have your catcher play back-to-back games at catcher. Sure, in the regular season, it's fine. You can have your catcher play 5 straight games without having a day off or going to DH like Yainer Diaz could if you put Victor Caratini in the lineup. But in spring, this early on at least, it's better Yainer Diaz doesn't catch back-to-back games. But in a game where Framber Valdez is starting, of course Yainer Diaz has to be the catcher. That makes sense. All right. John Singleton was at first base today, and he was batting for the Astros at 5, and he reached on an infield single to shortstop in his first at bat. So we see Isak get a walk and Yainer Diaz send one out of the ballpark, and then after that, John Singleton gets an infield hit. Kennedy, I think it's Kennedy Gomez. He in his only at bat walked, and Jarowski singled to center for an RBI. Zach DeZenzo, the Astros continued that first inning, by the way. Zach DeZenzo, that inning, had a single to center that got Singleton to second. Obviously, that inning, it started off with 2 outs. That first inning started off with 2 outs with Corona and Hummel not being able to get on base. But the Astros that first inning had a nice 2-out rally where you have Isak walk, Yainer home run, Singleton infield single, then DeZenzo single. So that was a nice little solid inning with 2 outs there for the Astros in the first inning today. DeZenzo looked good. DeZenzo's looked great this spring so far. I'm really excited the way he's looked so far for the Houston Astros. Yeah, his last 2 at-bats weren't great. Struck out swinging, grounded into double play. But started off good today and had like 3 or 4 RBI. I think it was 3 RBIs he had on Sunday. He's had a solid spring so far for the Houston Astros, and I'm excited to see what he can continue to do. Brendan Rodgers made his debut outside of Jose Altuve, Jeremy Pena, and Yordan Alvarez, who haven't played yet, which I would expect Jose Altuve and Jeremy Pena to potentially make their Astros spring debuts tomorrow. Well, I know Jose is. I don't know about Jeremy. I predict Jeremy will be out there tomorrow. But outside of those guys, Brendan Rodgers is really the only guy that hasn't played so far. And he went 0 for 3 in his first game as an Astro. Flied out to right, popped out to second, grounded out to pitcher. Not great, but still got a lot of spring left. And he was replaced by Jarowski, who had an RBI single to center to score the Astros their third and final run. Shea Whitcomb was at third base today, and he went 0 for 2. Fouled out to his catcher and flied out to center. That was it for him. Zach Short was at shortstop today, and at the last spot in the lineup, he had a walk in the second inning. That was it for him. That was it for this Astros team. I mean, Fromber gave the Astros 2 good innings. Wyman gave the Astros, 2 really good innings in this game with 5 strikeouts in his last 2 innings, or the eighth and ninth and the last 2 innings of this ball game. Yes, he did give up 3 hits, but 5 strikeouts for the Astros today. Marcel Tameros looked solid today for the Astros with 1 strikeout. 3 strikeouts for Vinway in 2 innings. I mean, the Astros looked really solid today. Fromber and Castro, the first 2 pitchers, did not have any strikeouts in the first 3 innings. But outside of that, strikeouts became a big thing for the Astros from innings 4 to 9 in this game. The Astros picked up a total of 10 strikeouts in the last 6 innings of this ball game. Let me know your thoughts on the Astros 3-0 win in the comment section, and peace out. Go Astros.